Business Lexington is made possible by the Keeneland Association, offering the finest in thoroughbred racing each April and October, along with auctions 4 times yearly in Lexington, Kentucky. By the law firm of Bowles Rice. By Smiley Pete Publishing, Lexington's community media company at smileypete.com. Now, your monthly 30-minute local business news resource, Business Lexington, with your editor-in-chief, Tom Martin. Business Lexington feature reporters, Eric Carlson, Lisa Davidson, Chris Huskisson, and Doug Hyde. With commentary by Sylvia Lovely. This is your partner in progress. This is Business Lexington.
From the pages of Business Lexington, financial literacy education comes to Fayette County Public Schools as Kentuckians and Americans are awakened to the consequences of taking on more credit debt than they can handle. Christine Huskisson takes us to a Lexington neighborhood that has added public art to its economic development toolbox. And Eric Carlson gathers opinions at a popular neighborhood watering hole. Sylvia Lovely has comment on the financial crisis and redefining the American dream. All straight ahead on this November 2008 edition of Business Lexington. It's the ultimate teaching moment, a national economy such as ours in deep, serious trouble. And while much of the cause can be traced to irresponsible behavior, even perhaps incompetence at the highest, most exquisitely salaried levels of Wall Street, as well as to deregulatory zeal on Capitol Hill, widespread financial illiteracy and resulting consumer gullibility also played important roles in getting us to where we are today. The good news in all this is that it's now hard to find anybody who doesn't agree that far more could be done and should be done to educate and prepare future generations to successfully manage their own finances and to have the savvy to make informed decisions when choosing policymakers while at the voting booth. And more is being done. Joining us here in the studio are Jan Mester, president of the Kentucky Council on Economic Education, and Martin Kish, vice president for marketing and communications of the Kentucky Association of Manufacturers. And we thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you.
Jan, first, if we could talk a little bit about the council and what it does, if you would just give us an outline of what it's all about.
I would be happy to. We'd be happy to. The Kentucky Council on Economic Education will celebrate its 35th anniversary next year. We are an organization that promotes economic and personal finance, literacy, and education. We believe in the multiplier effect. So our strategy for promoting literacy, personal financial literacy, is through the classroom teacher. We believe that that professional in the classroom is best equipped to touch as many young people as possible.
Now, financial literacy is nothing new under the sun. It's been important forever. But as I mentioned in our opening, we have a teaching moment going on here. We have a crisis at hand that highlights the need. Can you tell us a little bit more about how how financial literacy might play a role in preventing this kind of thing from happening in the future?
You know, currently it would be very easy to say, okay, consumers, you all really messed up. But instead, we want to say, consumers, use your head. Pay yourself first. Make better choices. Understand that you've got to spend less than you earn. We really are trying to promote common sense economics and personal financial literacy, that, you know, everyone has to be smarter. It's very obvious that maybe some bad choices and bad decisions were made, and I don't think it was made to cause anyone harm. I just think people were not aware, and I think that's the scary thing. We've got to make certain that families and our young people that will be our future business leaders and community leaders, that they do understand about how to save, to budget, to build assets, to make better choices, so this sort of situation won't continue to occur and take years for young people to overcome.
For several generations now, we've been fairly bombarded, if you will, with the idea that more is better. Has this crisis brought us to some sort of tipping point that might bring us as a society around to the idea that more maybe isn't better after all.
I definitely think that's true. Your reference to a tipping point, I think the tipping point that we see is the only way out of this situation is through education. The only way to get back on track and to make sure that these mistakes or these bad choices aren't made over and over again is to begin to educate people to understand credit and how to use it correctly, to understand about delayed gratification. You know, it's not always about impulsive and compulsive spending. And I think that, you know, if you just chastise people, they're no better off. So the Council on Economic Education is trying to provide information and tools so that families are smarter, they're talking to their kids about money, teens are smarter when they're bombarded with credit card offers, and people begin to understand that it's not rocket science. It's a way of looking at how to make choices, using resources efficiently, and making sure that they can build a foundation for financial success and productive living. So, I mean, that's oversimplification, but basically, education's the name of the game.